Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi Live Noding. In this episode, I want to share with you an idea that I have to use GreasePencil and Sverchok to kind of make it so that every GreasePencil strokes create some kind of volumetrics that you can paint every strokes on top of another strokes. So yeah, it seems like complicated, but it's actually quite simple. So we already know that with GreasePencil we can actually draw on top of surface. So it's gonna draw, if we specify here that we want to draw stroke placement on the surface, it will actually respect whatever object we are currently selecting and from that camera angle. I'll show you real quick. So if I draw it on top of it, so it is actually drawing on top of the surface of that object. It's as if it's being projected. It's not actually, it doesn't stick to it. I wish it kind of stick to it and then deforming with the mesh, but it's okay at the moment. It doesn't do that. But the nice thing about this method is that you can also have like a multiple objects like this, and then you draw it on the surface, and it should practically goes over the surface and kind of project it from that camera angle. So we can use this idea. So for now, for the GreasePencil thing, we want to be able to draw strokes like this, and then if I keep drawing the strokes, I want it to be able to draw on top of each surface. Or yeah, but first of all, GreasePencil is like currently it's more like just data, you like points and edges. It draws something in 3D, but it doesn't have any kind of volume. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe we should first of all mesh the GreasePencil so that we can kind of draw on top of every strokes. So anyway, I'll stop talking and then I'll start with something. So first of all, I will draw just like a random stroke like this on the ground, and currently it's just the normal GreasePencil stroke. I'll save this real quick. This is GreasePencil volume, and the next thing I want to do is to use Sverchok to kind of remesh the GreasePencil stroke. We're gonna use object ID selector. I did this a couple of times already and it should be familiar now, but it's okay, I'll start from scratch again. Okay, let's think. We need to find out the length of the stroke using the scripted node light, and simply find the templates, path length. Okay, plug this into this guy, and we should have the length of the strokes. We can have multiple strokes, by the way, and then use vector interpolation. This one plug into this guy, vertices from here, and we might need some kind of multiplications. Let's check the stroke first of all. So you can do this using two methods, whether it's a curve method or there is also the skin modifier method. Skin modifier method is probably simpler. So let's check this out. This multiplier, this is actually, I did it wrong. I need to have a range float in here. This one goes into the count, and this one goes into this guy. This one should be between 0 and 1. Okay, now you can see our GreasePencil strokes being replicated. I might actually try the skin modifier method first. So skin measure, Sverchok has this skin measure, and let's see, skin measure live. I'll plug, we need to have UV connection set to edges. So this goes in there. This will generate edges based on GreasePencil, and we have to turn on this. So we have now live skin modifier based on GreasePencil. So this should be relatively fast, and for every strokes we need to kind of consider how thick the volume of the grease pencil is currently, so I just make it like this. You can probably start to see where this is going. So if I draw another strokes, I will actually turn on additive drawing and turn off continuous drawing, and I will draw on the next frame, you see, and then I will now start drawing. Supposedly, because we already have like the remeshing of the first stroke, the second stroke should be on top of the first stroke, like that. And if I kind of move the frame or unplug this and plug this again, you can see the second stroke is actually on top. It's almost like the first stroke actually have volume. It is still overlapping because the way the volume works, the way currently it works, it's just kind of drawing on top of the first stroke. But anyway, I'll keep drawing. So I'm gonna draw another stroke and then update it again. This one is actually on top of the second stroke, and I'll draw again, update it. So we need to do this updating each time, but you will see that this every strokes actually drawn on top of the first stroke and over again. So we should actually see kind of like all these strokes starting to pile up. So might looks a bit weird at the moment, but let's have a look at it. Let's turn off the GreasePencil actually. Don't turn off completely, because if you turn off completely, Sverchok doesn't read it. I usually just turn off the opacity. So now you can start to see it's almost every stroke is piling on top of each other. There is like overlapping, but we don't see it too much. It looks actually more realistic like this. And I can continue actually. So continue drawing. Okay, I actually need to see the stroke somehow, but kind of, it's okay. We can kind of imagine it. It's okay. Maybe I have a little bit. Can't see it anyway, you know. Because the way I make it is to draw as additive drawing, so every frame will generate the stroke, and it's gonna continue drawing on top of it. It looks like a pile of whatever here, but this is actually kind of interesting method. You can probably use this for detailing, or you know, it's very organic kind of detailing. You can make like a hair probably for Suzanne head. I don't know yet. This is like still like a proof of concept. The nice thing about this is that once you're done with it, you just hide the stroke, and you can kind of start from zero, and then you look at the animation. See, it's piling up. So yeah, that's the whole process. Actually, nothing like a big deal. But if you want to have like a pile of whatever here, and yeah, I think this is pretty cool method. So I guess you can give this a try, give this a go, and then let me know what you think. Maybe I can improve this. So this one is GreasePencil pile or volume. Would be nice in the future if we are for GreasePencil strokes we actually have some kind of volume, that so you can start with a very simple shapes base mesh, and then you kind of draw on top of it and draw it again and draw it again, and once you're done with it, you can kind of join them and then kind of maybe remesh them. I don't know. Yeah, so hopefully you like this method. Yeah, thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.